Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I'm a trained remote viewer, specializing also into interspecies communication, which is not just being a pet psychic. I can basically talk to anything: a leaf, a tree, a wall, ETs. Um, and I'm here very aligned with my mission, but pretty much as miserable as most other people today, probably less miserable because I understand that I chose this misery in order to accomplish a mission. And that might be important for you to start asking yourself, your God, ask in the dream state, um, why life is so difficult, you were born at this time, whatever your belief system is. And once you kind of align with that, things are a little bit easier. At least you don't feel so dumb that you would have chosen this kind of a lifetime, or you don't feel so victimized, or you don't feel so abused. So try and figure out why it is that you would have chosen to be here, and things will be easier. Today, this is supposed to be news from other dimensions, and it is, but it's actually going to be more like a science class, but from the other dimensions. If you see that grid behind me, this is a graphic of quantum entanglement, but it's actually very accurate. That grid in metaphysics is called the etheric field. Um, and it is made out of mind strings that several things run through, but it is 110. It's electrical and 110. And then modern science says that there's something called the Higgs field. And it's a backdrop to everything. That's the etheric field. So I'm going to refer to it as the Higgs field because every descriptive of the Higgs field is a descriptive of the etheric field. So why are we talking about the etheric field if what I'm doing is news from other dimensions and we've done entirely too much politics? Because there's something going on today that started, I think it was Saturday night. I don't know. I didn't document the time of the day. I should have. But we are under alien attack. Huge. Today is what? Tuesday. So it would have been like since Saturday. But aliens know so much more than we do. And they're not going to use weapons of war that are inefficient. And they're not going to use weapons of war that are going to kill our physical bodies because they have apparently plans for our physical bodies. You know, the whole zombie thing, they need a human body and not all beat up. So I don't know all their weapons of war, but the one that they're using this time, which I suspect they use a lot, is basically the fire element. Now you see all those little cartoons, The Last Airbender and all those superheroes, and they throw energy here and there. That. Except it's the fire element. So being that the planet Earth is already on fire, sending the fire element additionally increases these things: insomnia, irritability, anxiety, anger, rage, emotional violence, physical violence, murder, and suicide. All of those things are due to, and then if you want to go to the physical body, cancer, blood pressure, heart attacks, strokes, excess fire, causal. So these ETs have been sending extra fire. So all of those things would augment, but go to the end of that, which has to do with the emotional and physical violence, murder, and suicide. And basically, that's where we're at. Everybody, if you ask them and say, do you want to cut everybody's head off? Practically everybody would say yes. Unfortunately, some people that have too much fire, because too much fire is what causes mental illness, they will go ahead and kill people. And then it's like, what happened to that person? Too much fire. No, no, no. But what happened to them? Causal, too much fire. Yes, but I think a psychologist would say, yes, but that's not causal. That's a symptom. And that's where we need to get straight. With that being said, let me show you the map. Darn, I hope that I didn't upload the map. but I will the second, because with this background, it's a little bit iffy when I try to show something. Okay, here we go. So with that information, now the horizontal lines that you're going to see now are Higgs field, also the vertical lines. The horizontal lines are like the Schumann resonance, plus a few other things. I don't know what the vertical lines are. Okay, this is the US map today. You see those red lines that come from the top and then they go down and then all of a sudden they go into blue. Well, when you go into blue is where they get over water. And those lines have to do with fire. So water puts out fire. But they're over the United States and they're red. This is also electric. This is part of the Higgs field. That grid, life grid, the Higgs grid. This is contrary to what we have seen in the United States before. And I'll show you the map for July the 3rd. Not going to be able to do it. Let's see. July the 3rd. You can see it there. Darn, this is interesting. There is no red, vertical or horizontal in the United States. Now there is. Things will change dramatically. Paranoia, killing, accusations, insomnia, restlessness, lashing out. At the center of the United States, you do have a lotus flower, but it's red. In other words, it has been prostituted by the extra fire that's being thrown at us. Those are the vertical lines. Now, the horizontal lines are blue, which they were several days ago. The problem is that they're now not smooth. They're like almost static. So this is the United States. The Higgs field is compromised. The Higgs field is how God created order in all the dimensions. Well, I don't know all the dimensions, but certainly the ones pertaining to planet Earth that I'm familiar with. Those grids align one on top of the other, and then the energy flows through. It goes from one dimension to another. It doesn't just plop through. When you have a portal, that's when there's a hole in the Higgs field. And then the energy can go through, and that can include thoughts, spirits, thought forms, congestions of emotions. That's disorder. The Higgs field creates order. And whatever harms the Higgs field creates disorder. The Higgs field, the mind streams are 120. 220 is a little bit much. 5G is destroying it. So the United States is going to deteriorate dramatically and quickly. Now, remember that above us, Canada always had the Higgs field was too much fire. But I think from what I see, or at least when I hear Trump say, Canada's not doing so great. And I really haven't checked other places. I was going to check Europe, but you know what? I already have enough people irritated at me because I know more than they would want for me to know. And so I'm going to be bowing out of politics basically now. If I speak of somebody, it's because they're doing damage to me or they're helping me. I'm not going to try to help anybody having to do with political information because I'm doing myself in. I have too many people that just would love for me to disappear. That's not what I want to do anyway. You know, it's not my field. I want a field where people only speak the truth. And I understand that in politics, that is not always possible. When you have to have that many people kind of pointed in one direction, it's not, the truth doesn't quite work there. And so there, I don't want to be there, which is fine. I've done what I needed to do. We're on our way. I think we're inches away from getting all this ugliness that went on forever to getting it We're in resolution, in my opinion, and in my feeling. I actually feel safer when I walk out now. And I have to move again. This was going to be 8 times in like 9 years within 45 days. So, guys, all you, what do the girls online call them? The ABC guys, you're going to have to collect up all your equipment and then kind of hang back until I choose a new place and then figure out if it's worth it or whether the need for that still exists. Because I do believe that within 45 days, things are going to be. I was going to say they're going to be one way or another. No, they're going to actually end up well. The future is elastic and plastic, and you create it. And even though I'm miserable and could cut everybody's head off, I still see good things in the future. I can't figure out how. It's okay. So I just gave you a science class. So how's the Higgs field in your home? The Higgs field, the quality of the Higgs field in your home determines whether you're going to have a haunting. And what can cause a haunting? If you have your router in the same place for 10 years, you're going to have a portal there. All that Wi-Fi shooting out of there into the Higgs field, which is 110, uh, it opens a hole. So switch your router around. I when I used to use a cell phone a lot more, I barely use it. I don't have anyone to talk to. When I used to use it a lot, I was very paranoid and I wouldn't put it in this. I tried not to put it in the same place. I'd move it 10 inches away the other side of the room so that I would allow the Higgs field some breathing room, knowing that the first time I understood the radiation that comes from routers was when I was looking at the router in my office. And when I looked up, there was a hole, a portal. And I went, oh my God. And then it wasn't, I don't remember at what point I realized I had a radio show right before that. And it was very successful. People said we should syndicate it. Great. And we weren't able to hold it together, not the content. It's just weird. That router was right there where the radio show, the music, the thing that the board that they use, etc. There was no way we would have been able to hold it together with where that was located. In my opinion, it was astrologically, we were also not supported at all. So the next time you're going to have a really important opening or launch, check out the astrology. Stack the deck in your favor. Just say, like a lot of people, oh, I don't really believe in this. Well, you read your horoscope every day. Yeah, but I don't really believe in it. Okay. It's okay. That's okay with me. You can do that. Um, so, hey, we're under galactic attack. Star Wars all over again. We just discovered that all of us have gnomes, Gnomes, hanging around our tailbone. We have ETs coming in and they look like parasites. And da 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 da. And I keep remembering how I said that in the future, our life is going to be like that scene in Star Wars where they're at a bar and there's all sorts of creatures hanging out, having, chatting, having drinks with each other. Who would have thought? Gnomes. I'm a government trained remote viewer. I mean, we don't go there. Actually, that's not true. If you're a government trained remote viewer, you don't go anyplace. You ask for information and then you see it and then you're not allowed to reject it. You didn't make it up, but it's really uncomfortable in terms of belief systems. I've never believed in fairies and gnomes. I thought they were cute and certain type of people really never. And as I said yesterday, the DMT guys, the people that take the DMT, which is like a hallucinogenic substance, the one thing that they all see are gnomes. So then DMT must take you to the tailbone, which then takes you to the third eye. It's interesting. Mapping out all of that is what I really should be doing full time. Okay. Aliens were under attack. Nobody's discussing that. Where's the Epstein files? Okay, let's not look at that. Let's not look at that. And then we don't have to do something like go to the beach, um, hug trees, go to the mountains, go to a salt room. They have salt rooms where you can sit for an hour and it really reduces the fire. They do use it a lot for hyperactive kids. Um, take a lot of tub baths. Turn off your Wi-Fi at night, things like that. Don't sleep with your cell phone. Those are the kind of things you would have to do if you actually accepted that there is an alien attack. It's okay. I have said so many things in advance that I have gotten used to people saying, or either ignoring me, saying I'm crazy, whatever. But then 5 years later, 3 years later, 2 weeks later, they go, you know what? I didn't believe you when you said that, but you know what? I go, yeah, I know. It's a little tiring. Aliens cannot tolerate the earth element. Okay. What does that mean? You're not going to have aliens showing up. Now, there could be exceptions to this, it could be new things, but in what I know until now, they can't show up on the physical dimension or do much performance on the physical dimension because they can't deal with the earth element. They're air, sky, and that's why, and the evil on planet Earth comes from off planet. It comes from certain types of aliens. That's why in the original Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, it doesn't say deliver us from evil. It says help us to be in the present. And the present means grounded, landed, rooted, earth, inside your physical body, which too many people are very mental. So the more you are in contact with earth and water, the safer you are from this alien attack that started, I believe it was on Saturday. It's just following the instructions of the Lord's Prayer and understanding that aliens don't have physical bodies, cannot perform. I know there have to be exceptions on the physical dimension. So if you throw dirt at them or water, they can't be there. I just realized that. Baptism. What is baptism? Water. Purifying a baby that supposedly never has been through anything. It was just born. Why are you clearing him already? Why don't you wait 3 months after the screaming with the colic, that spirit attack, by the way? But anyway, you know what? It's really astounding because my control for many years was very bright and required that I widen my lens and that I learn to think like him. And basically, the truth of the matter is that we've been handed storylines that just, we should have never believed them from the first day, but we did because we had a paradigm that had an addiction to authority figures protecting them regardless of how terrible they were or stupid or whatever. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and finish here. Science classes are not that fun. I don't feel gossipy because I feel pretty miserable, not quite knowing what's going to happen next yet. It feels like my enemies are more subdued. I did check. Schiff and my handler were connected energetically, and they still were this morning. Does that mean that they both knew it? I don't know. I wasn't really checking. I was just cutting everything possible so that this particular phase of my life will be over. Um, and then let me give you another piece of gossip, but a little bit more fun. I told you about the fact that when I did the chats with the mantristas, I could see, when I did the astrology, I could see that their dictator was on a chair that was like a throne, but he was up in the air and he was trying to leave. And apparently he's been trying to leave for 15 years. He's wanted to leave, but the people around him have not let him leave. So symbolically, he's in the air, but there's a cord, like the matrix, that cord that they implant here, there's a cord. And there's black magic that's called cording amarres. They tie you up. So there was something that was still hooking him to Venezuela. And as I told you, it was his love for Venezuela, he didn't want to leave. Okay, so I told everybody in the group, just take out your visualization, your scissors, cut, 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 cut. But then it turned out that his people from Venezuela started to do more black magic to pull him back. Now, he may still physically be in Venezuela, but he wants to leave. So when they're trying to pull him back, they're pulling back the part of him that wants to leave. So then we had to still cut, 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 cut. Very interesting to be able to see that. I've actually never seen anything like that. Those chords are in the original Lord's Prayer in Aramaic. And it says, help us to untie the I don't know if it's strings or cords that bind us, and they're used in black magic, and those cords are talked about in every line almost in the prayer that was the Pope that just died, Pope Francis. His favorite prayer was to a virgin undoer of knots, which are those cords, those strings, those matrix implants. We need to learn a lot more about them. Okay, so then thank you for joining me. I'm not sure I'll be here tomorrow. I'm not sure that I'm just going to cut this down to 3 times a week. It's exhausting, and I do want to get off of my addiction to politics. And that's my explanation. And if you buy that, I have a bridge I can sell you. I'm just joking. The truth of the matter is, I study political science. I don't like politics. I've been there, done that, been behind the scenes, been in the back rooms. I have people, too many people that say of me, don't ask Frances a question because she is going to tell you the answer, the truth, without monitoring, which makes me very unsocial. I don't like things that are manipulated, that are not true, and that it's not possible to get away from. I understand that it's not possible to get away from that in politics, but I can get away from it. So that's what I'm doing. But I'll be back. I'm not leaving. I'm just not sure I'll be here tomorrow, but I will be here the next day. And if important stuff happens on the map, I will be here